Hey everyone, welcome to All Things Iceland, the place to get the inside scoop on Icelandic nature, culture, history, and language as experienced by an expat, which is me, Jules. And today I'm sharing with you reasons why you should not visit Iceland. Now that might seem an opposite of many of the videos which I talk about the amazing nature here and all these things, but Iceland is not for everybody, and I do think there are some legitimate people who come here with different expectations about the country and then are just like, what did I sign up for? And so today I'm going to give you reasons why you should not come here, and for some other people it might resonate totally different. Maybe the things I point out you're like, that totally suits me. So we'll see by the end of this video, and definitely let me know if you felt like you still would like to visit Iceland after hearing why I feel like you should not if you fit into these particular categories. And also just FYI, we've been having amazing weather, like super sunny, and it's just incredible. So I'm just hoping this continues for a little bit longer, as well as thank you to everybody who let me know in my YouTube post, in the community post, about what types of video suggestions they want for the future. It was awesome, it's super helpful, and I'm definitely going to be incorporating those in future videos. The first reason why you should not visit Iceland is that you are just not a fan of nature. And I'm talking about being able to go in the same day from walking on a glacier, this huge block of ice that's practically ancient, to then strolling along on a black sand beach, or seeing puffins, horses, and sheep that are particularly roaming around freely in the summertime. If that kind of nature and like waterfalls around every corner does not appeal to you, then Iceland is just not somewhere that I recommend that you come to visit. And I've heard people even say they are exhausted by the nature, which I find hilarious. But for me, it never gets tiring. And I think also it's just for a certain type of person who really enjoys just like, bam, tons of beautiful nature in your face. Like now, it's just amazing. And this is literally like a 10-minute walk from my house. So it's just one of those places where you are in essence kind of bombarded with nature, but in the best way possible. And because it's the land of fire and ice, there are a lot of diverse landscapes here, and maybe you're the type of person that wants to see the same thing all the time whenever you're driving, walking, or whatever. So in that case, it's probably better to just stay at home. The second reason that might deter you from traveling to Iceland has to do with the weather. And this is a hard one, I think, for a lot of people. But for me, the fact that we don't normally have these days, such as the sun being out and bright and beautiful consistently like you might have in other places where the seasons are just more constantly the same, you know what to expect for the most part. Well, in Iceland, it's very unpredictable. And if you're not able to be more flexible, say you booked the trip and you were super excited about going, but then there's a windstorm and they have to cancel it, that is just a part of the experience here in Iceland. It is not a press a button, everything works out properly, and when you book, you know, everything that you've planned on doing will definitely happen. Now, on many people's trips, things do work out amazing, and on other people's trips, there's a lot of flexibility needed. And I think if you're not a person with this open-mindedness and flexibility that you build in a little bit into your expectations, then you will not enjoy visiting Iceland. And for me, having this flexibility, or just the fact that it's unpredictable at times, I mean, there could be like snowstorms, windstorms, or it could be consistently sunny for a few days, is what has made it so exciting for some. But for some others, they're like, nope, I want to know, like in certain parts of California, like it's always gonna be sunny or whatever else. While everyone is entitled to their opinion or what they like, Iceland, like I said, is not for everybody, and weather-wise can be challenging. But along with best dealing with the weather in terms of being flexible and just knowing that you kind of have to be up for changing the game, maybe go into another area if the roads are blocked because of a storm or something like that, is also knowing how to dress for the weather. This is so important, because in Iceland, if you know how to dress or like what to wear, you can enjoy yourself. And like for instance, I'm wearing my lopapeysa, at least one of them, and I have a layer underneath. And I'm out here and it's 7 degrees Celsius and I feel fine. Granted, I've also adapted to the weather more But being from New York City, you know, originally, and being used to different temperatures, I can say that certain layers have definitely made a difference for me. And my free ultimate packing checklist, which is in the description box below, gives you everything you would need packing wise in order for you to be as prepared as possible for the weather. If you're one of those people that it actually works out, that it makes sense for you to visit here. But you're not gonna have an open mind to the fact that in the summertime, it is 60 degrees Fahrenheit as the high temperature most of the time. If we get to that in the first place, this is probably not the best place for you to visit. But for those other people who do know how to dress for it and can come and enjoy themselves, this is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have the best adventure. The third reason that you should not visit Iceland is if you are a person that is really closed-minded or not open to the fact that Iceland is quite liberal. So in terms of equality, now Iceland is not gender equal. I mean, it's much closer to it than many other countries, but there are still plenty of examples of how Iceland is not there when it comes to equality between men and women. But there's a lot of respect here for women, and maybe more so than the environment that you're from, as well as when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, that is very much accepted here. And in fact, Iceland had the first in the world prime minister that was part of the LGBTQ plus community. In terms of being liberal and really like taking a stance when it comes to equality or advocating for that and having community there, Iceland is one of those places. And if you're just turned off by the fact that Pride here is amazing, it's such a great time, it's a family event, or that people talk about and advocate for equality and respecting each other and things of that nature, then you will not enjoy it. If you have that kind of bigoted mentality and you're thinking that, oh, Iceland, Vikings, and they're gonna be like brutal to each other or only accepting of people who look a certain way, then you will be sadly mistaken and also won't enjoy it because you'll be alone, okay? The majority of people are not like that here, but at least from my experience, the Icelandic community is more accepting than it is not. But if you're one of those people that believes that diversity is a problem, or people who are open about their sexual orientation or talking about equality, then don't waste your time coming here because you won't find many allies in that type of negative thinking. The fourth reason why you should not visit Iceland is that when it comes to the seasons, so it doesn't really feel like Iceland has, you know, all 4 seasons, and we do to some degree, but really winter and summer are the kind of more dominant ones that make it into like the Instagram posts or whatever. But in summertime, it's worth knowing that there's 24-hour brightness. So it might not be exactly as bright as it is right now, but it will be quite bright at 1 o'clock in the morning, and the same at 9 o'clock in the morning and in the afternoon. So just brightness all day long. And then in the wintertime, the days are really short. So you have really long nights. And for some people, this seems crazy and too extreme for them. And maybe that's the case, but those people might also not realize that in summertime, that means that there's endless adventures that you can go on because you have so much daylight. And in the wintertime, you could see the northern lights. But if that doesn't appeal to you as much, meaning you just don't feel like it's worth it, don't worry, stay at home, let the rest of us enjoy it. And the individuals who really want to see these natural phenomenons and to be able to enjoy hiking during the long summer nights or hunting down the northern lights during December or January. It's quite the experience that can put off some people, but again, preparation is key. So in the summertime, having a face mask, most places have blackout curtains. Those things will help you be able to get to sleep if you're not used to having brightness all the time. And it definitely takes some getting used to as someone who lives here, but as a visitor, it can just be one of those experiences where you're just like, wow, that was shocking, but super cool. Another reason why you should not visit Iceland is that you think that because of Iceland's food history, which has a lot to do with meat and potatoes, that essentially that's just how the culture should be now, the food culture. Well, for people like me who is plant-based, or other friends who are gluten-free, or even those who are keto, who do eat a decent amount of meat, we're all glad that Iceland has a really diverse food culture, and it's actually pretty exciting. Like, it's amazing to me that they even have a vegan store. So there's a store that only serves vegan food, and it's amazing. And of course I'm going to do videos in the future about this type of stuff. But if you're just expecting that this is the way it should be and that's all that should be available because it's Iceland and Vikings, blah blah, don't waste your time. Like, just don't try to advocate for this only being the thing. Iceland, just like everywhere else, there are different types of people that live here. The culture is evolving while still holding on to some of the things that are traditional, but at the same time everybody learns and grows and has different needs. And I love the fact that there is so much diversity in food. Now, not as much as somewhere like a big city in the United States, but still a lot considering that there's around 370,000 people that live here. The last but certainly not least reason why you should not visit Iceland is if you're not respectful of other people's cultures. And this, you know, hits on a little bit in the other one that I talked about. But in essence, Icelanders, they try to be respectful of people who are coming to visit as best they can as they're learning. But coming into Iceland expecting it to be like where you're from exactly, or having that same type of service all the time, it is changing for sure. And when it comes to customer service, I think that's one of the things Icelanders, it seems to be catching on, to be changing. In terms of just like expectations even of food sometimes, if you're from the US, you might find there's many things here that are familiar to you, but maybe from other cultures, you might be like, no, you know, and you might be tempted to say like it's better in your country. That is a matter of opinion. Like saying that about Icelandic chocolate or something like that. Like this, in my opinion, kind of is like almost crossing the line into being disrespectful, because people really treasure their own cultures, and if something within the culture doesn't really fit with you, and not that it's like abusive or anything, but it's just different than what you know, it doesn't have to necessarily be bad, it's just different. And being aware of that and how your words can sometimes potentially offend people or hurt them because you just feel that how you grew up or what you experienced was better. But you have to realize that you are in a different place. People aren't necessarily going to be the same, and to give some grace for that. Of course, for the people who are open-minded, who understand that and don't come expecting that their culture is superior to another's and want to learn more and be respectful, you end up having a much better time. But for those who are not like that, again, don't waste your time. Stay at home. Leave it to those who are just really excited about being in new environments and being on this adventure in Iceland, which can be so eye-opening, fascinating, and life-changing for many. So now that I've shared with you many different reasons why some people should not visit Iceland, feel free to let me know if any of them resonated with you, meaning like things that you might have heard other people say or do on other cultures, and it's like, why did you even come here? Or what makes you excited about potentially visiting Iceland? I'd love to know if you haven't been already, and if you have been, of course, let me know what you love about Iceland in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up. Look at this amazing weather that we're having, as well as to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.